Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to this platform, Mental Health Tuesday, which is hosted by SambaSports Youth Agenda in partnership with other like-minded organizations and individuals. My name is Mohammed Ali Machausa. I will be moderating this session, and we hope that you're going to enjoy, you're going to learn, and the effects of this session will shape and better your experiences in life, inshallah. Today, we are bouncing back after a short break of 5 weeks during Ramadan. And we are starting with a very, I would say, momentous topic, coping with rejection. We have with us Dr. Mujahid, who is going to take us through understanding and maybe helping us on skills to cope with rejection. But before that, maybe we may want to hear anything from any of us, maybe an experience of rejection, maybe a question around rejection, maybe something you want Daktari to focus on for 2 minutes before we let Daktari take the mantle. Please, over to the participants. The floor is yours. You may raise your hand, we give an opportunity, or you may write on the call chat. I can see Barke Salim says, hi everyone, hi. Hope everyone is okay. I hope so too, that everyone is okay.
Okay.
Yes, Amina Osman Hirsi, you've raised your hand. Please shoot. Yes, Amina, please unmute yourself. We can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Loud and clear, thank you.
Okay, I just wanted, thank you for this session. I wanted Dr. Mujahid to touch upon how ladies we can navigate in a polygamous situation. I mean, the issue of rejection. How do you navigate when you're in a polygamous situation? So, rejection in polygamy.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Dr. You've had that loud and clear.
Yes.
We hope she's going to get help. Anybody else who has anything special that she wants to hear? Mwingine naona Mwanaisha Kuania amenua mkono.
Yeah, assalamu alaikum. Mimi nafanya kazi na jamii na nafanya sana kazi na vijana, especially youth around 18 to 24 years, happy your age. And I have realized kuna vijana ambao wanapitia vitu mingi sana kwenye vichwa vyao, especially mpaka mtu anafikia to an extent anataka kujitoa uhai ama anafikia kujitoa uhai because amekuwa rejected. Labda na msichana, pengine pale nyumbani family hawamkubali, so that is rejection. Mwingine anaweza kuishilia mpaka anatumia drugs and substance abuse. Wengine wanapitia rejection kutoka kwa marafiki zao, very close friends ambao labda walikuwa wana expect kwamba wao watakuwa na wao bumper to bumper katika maisha yao. So for example, wako katika maskani but yeye ana feel haikui karibu, anakuwa rejected. Akizungumza kitu kinakuwa smashed off. So anafilia kwamba mimi wale watu ambao natarajia wewe so close na mimi wanani reject. Ukija nyumbani, wazazi, mtu anamuona huyu mtoto alianguka mtihani, ama huyu mtoto hana adabu, huyu mtoto sijui yuko vipi, anakuwa rejected. So kila kitu hana mchango wote pale nyumbani, kila kijaribu kuweka mchango anakuwa rejected. Inafika to an extent family ama the community wanamuona kama ambaye ni mtu ambaye hajielewi, hana mpango and all that. Na wengi wao wanafikia to an extent ya sasa inafika kwamba anataka kucommit suicide ama anaingia kwenye drug and substance abuse, ama wengine wanajihusisha katika magenge ya ujambazi. So how do we deal with such youth? Ama ni huyu kijana tutamfanya vipi ya kwamba aone kwamba yeye ana umuhimu na Mungu ana sababu kwa nini alimuumba na yuko hapa duniani, ana sababu maalum ambayo ameumbiwa nayo. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mwanaisha. Daktari, I'm sure umesikia hiyo. If you can get another one, Abigail, sorry, anyone else, you can also write on the call chat. Even as wakati daktari akianza kuzungumza, bado pia unaweza kuuliza ama unaweza kusema experience zako on the call chat. Kwa sababu hakuna mwingine mwenye ameuliza mpaka sasa na sioni mkono. Daktari, is it the best time we give you the platform? Please.
I think so. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Brother Muhammad. I am very grateful to be part of this discussion, and I believe it is a discussion that is long overdue because it is affecting quite a number of people in our societal spectrum, ranging from women, youth, and even elderly people, and even children to some extent. Rejection is not a very new phenomenon in the society, but it is becoming more predominantly as we develop technologically. Before I begin, I want to ask the Almighty to give us the clarity of the mind so that tuwe na upeo unaofaa katika mazungumzo yetu. I also want to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the stability of our emotions so that we are able to use our insights for our betterment, to be able to live with positive mental attitude. And then I want to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the strength and the energy to continue with discussion from the beginning to the end. One thing I want to say is a human being, as it is always said, is 75 psychology and 25 biology. 75% psychology, 25% biology. So when it comes to anything that touches the mind of a human being, that thing must be taken with all the seriousness it deserves, because we always become what we think every day. It is the little thoughts that go through our minds. When they add up, they make us the kind of people we become in life. And therefore, we have to be very careful on how we utilize the thoughts that comes to our mind in a more positive than in a negative way. Because unfortunately, we cannot control what goes into our minds. But we can control, we can decide what to keep and what to delete. If we are to use the modern IT terminology, you can decide to delete or download. But whatever comes in, you have no control on that particular thing. Rejection is defined in different ways. It is defined as a process where people feel unwanted, unloved, people feel sidelined, people feeling that they are not welcomed in a situation, in an environment, in a relationship, and therefore they feel like they are completely unacceptable wherever they might be. In a formal definition, it is defined as the action of spurning a person's affection. Some people are reluctant to try it because they fear rejection. We feel rejected when we are not included, accepted, or approved of. Rejection involves the loss of something we had or wanted. Rejection is like abandonment, leaves us feeling unwanted and not making us feel not good enough. So it is a very broad terminology. But to look at it from a positive perspective, which is very important for us today in this discussion, that we should focus more on the positivity than the negativity. I want to repeat this because this is very important. Whatever you think affects the way you feel. However you feel will always affect the way you act. How you act makes you act. Your attributes are the character that will always lead you to your destiny. So you have to be very careful on what your thoughts are, your thinking pattern. So to me, in my own understanding, I look at the meaning of rejection. I look at the interpretation of rejection. I look at the explanation of rejection using the letters that makes the word rejection. So I say, in my own understanding, R in the word rejection simply means it is not somebody who wanted you out of their relationship. It is not somebody who wanted you out of their relationship, but it is God who did not want you to be in that relationship. I am repeating it. It is not that somebody does not want you in their relationship. It is God who did not want you to be in that relationship. So you have to take it very positively. It is not that somebody doesn't want you. It is because God feels that is not the right relationship for you. That is not the right place for you. That is not the right situation for you. E, it is a situation where you get to feel more empowered because you can now learn to be on your own without depending on other people. So rejection, it is a moment of empowerment that makes you feel you can go on your own, you can live on your own, you can stand on your own. You do not need approval of other people for you to maintain a happy life. And I want you to learn this from me. It is not the validation of other people in your life that makes your life a good life. It is the validation of your own self that ultimately make your life a good life. So E in the word rejection should be taken to mean empowerment. Sometimes you don't get to realize you are strong until you are left alone to fly on your own. If you're in a crowd of people, you somehow feel like overprotected, and therefore you don't get to practice your own strength. J in the word rejection simply means it is a moment where you are now supposed to make judgment on which situations really are more suitable for you in order to be a successful person. It provides you an opportunity to decide whether you want to lie so low because you are crazy about somebody, or you can overlook that relationship, stand on your own, and fly with your own wings. That means, therefore, you stop being a pigeon and you become an eagle. You stop being a vulture and you become an eagle. You stop being an ostrich and become an eagle. You become someone who feels comfortable now to fly higher and higher without depending on the support of other people. So that J of judgmental moment where now you have to make a decision, because sometimes you don't become a different person until you are given a moment where there is no alternative but to become that particular person. A human being never changes in life to become a true self until the situation they find themselves in becomes more difficult than the situation of being on your own without the crowd of other people. The second E is the E of you now finding encouragement, learning to encourage yourself without waiting for the approval of the peer, for the approval of the brother, for the approval of the husband, for the approval of the wife, but you come up with your own internal mechanism of motivating yourself to move on, even when things have become difficult, complicated, frustrating, depressing, but you can still find a reason why you need to carry on. See, in the word rejection, it is when someone acquires a higher level of creativity, because you have to think. Here is a person you are used to for about 10, 20 years. Here are your parents who have brought you up so well. Here is your friend who has been with you all along, and all of a sudden a situation changes and now you're left on your own. That means, therefore, you will have to find a very creative strategy of you surviving without the support of that person who for a long time you are used to. T in the word rejection. It is where you are forced to change your normal pattern of thinking to a new spectrum of thought making, so that you can be able to develop what they call psychological shock absorbers, to avoid getting into a stressful moment or into a depressive moment. It is a time when now you have to, in life, you either look forward and create preparation and stop looking backward and continue regretting on what you have left, on what you have missed, on what you have lost. Life is about looking forward and prepare for future, than looking backward and regretting on what you had yesterday. So it is a time when you get a moment to look for new inspirations that will make your future a better future than your past. Remember, yesterday is history. You can't change history. Tomorrow is mystery. You don't know anything about it. But today is a gift. That's why it's called present tense. So for you to maintain a positive mental health, whether rejection or anything else, you have to be a momentous individual. You are looking at what is happening now, not what happened yesterday, because what happened yesterday, there is no way you can be able to change it. And then, it is that situation where even when 10 doors are closed behind you, you can still see that one remaining door, which is open. Instead of you crying for the 10 doors of rejection that have closed, you open up your eyes and you see that one remaining door, which is open, and move through that opening door instead of crying to an extent that your eyes cannot even see the one remaining door that is open for you, because you are concentrating on the 10 doors that have closed behind you. Again, it is that moment when you are left to negotiate which path will be the right path for you, will be the right path to follow in order for you to avoid falling into a depression. My dear colleagues, rejection has a tendency of making you feel inadequate. Rejection has a tendency of feeling you unworthy. Rejection has a tendency of leading you to a point where you see everything to do with your life being negative, when your life might have been decorated with a lot of beautiful and meaningful things that you are supposed to enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, there are 5 stages of rejection. When rejection comes, first, there is that feeling of denial. It's not possible. The husband I've been married to for the last 20 years cannot divorce me now. The son I've brought up for many years can never give me his back now. A childhood friend who has been with me through primary school, high school, cannot, forget me now when we are at the university. There is that feeling of denial, and that's where pain is generated, because you do not want to accept that a situation like that could happen to you, like it is happening to every other person out there. Now, out of that denial, you get into the second stage where you get angry, anger. And remember, when you are angry as a human being, you develop more adrenaline than when you are excited. And it is this adrenaline that will ultimately affect you physically, psychologically, and make you feel weak. And that's why people get into stress and get depression, because of that feeling of anger. How can this happen to me? What have I done wrong? And as such, you end up, pouring all the blames on you, forgetting that it might not be you. It might be the other person who has failed to see the good in you. It's not that you are bad. It is the failure of the other person to see how beautiful you are, to see how good you are, to see how resourceful you are, to see how beneficial you are, to see how productive you are. And therefore, they stay off you because of their own ignorance, their own arrogance, not because you are bad. Now, that anger is really the entry point of where other complication comes in the process of being rejected. Now, because of that anger, you go to the third stage of depression. And that's where everything now runs low and life loses meaning to you. And therefore you struggle looking for other alternative means that could give you some excitement in life. And that's where people go into drugs. People go into, doing things that they never thought they could do. That is when people go into looking for multi-sexual partners. That is when people go on becoming reckless. They overspend. They get into so many debts. They overdo whatever personal grooming and such kind of things. They forget even sometimes when they are, on their upper ages, they forget that and they start behaving like teenagers, like young people, trying to seek approval, trying to show that, we don't care. I am happy again. While inside, they're still not very happy. Now, when you go to that stage, if you get proper help, you go to the next stage, and then you accept the circumstances. You accept the outcome. Now, accepting the outcome leads you now to you rejuvenating yourself, which is the 5th stage, trying to find a way of getting yourself back onto yourself and onto your ways of living that were really productive. In the interest of time, my dear brothers and sisters, let us look at the practical steps then to deal with rejection. Number 1, according to psychological theories, number 1 principle is you need to acknowledge the pain and grieve the loss. Don't pretend. It is painful, of course, to get a divorce from someone you love so much. It is painful. It is painful to see the parent you thought love you rejecting you. It's painful. It is painful to see a friend you've been walking along all the difficulties of life, one day snatching your girlfriend or your boyfriend. Your boyfriend leaving you for him, who is your friend, for her, who is your girlfriend. It is really painful. It's painful when in the society you're not considered to be someone who is productive. It is very like you have a lot to offer, like you have nothing, like that pain, and grieve so that you can be able to get over that grief. Cleanse your mind, cleanse your heart so that you can be able to see how to start all over again. Number 2, tell yourself this grief, this pain will ultimately go. Innamal usri yusra. At the end of every disappointment, there is upliftment. At the end of every sorrow, there is happiness. At the end of every road, there is another road you can connect with. At the end of every night, what comes is the dawn. That means, therefore, you have to create the hope. Remember, according to Ibn Khaldun, there are only 2 principles that makes a rejected person find, a way of carrying on with their lives. And this is the hope that things are going to be better than they were yesterday. Tomorrow is going to be greater than yesterday. That is hope. And then fearing that if you continue with that depressive feeling, it's you yourself that is going to get ruined, not anybody else. You see, it's understanding that at the end of the day, it's your life, not somebody else's life. As you are in your room crying, feeling sorry, for the breakup of that relationship, the other person is busy enjoying himself with another person out there. Therefore, you need to tell yourself, look, it's okay to cry. It's okay to feel bad. It's okay to be depressed, but this is not going to be there forever. So that hope will help you carry on with your life in the interest of time. Number 3, engage in meaningful activities. It's not easy, but force yourself, instead of isolating yourself, staying alone, locking yourself in the room, wanting to have time alone, as some of them will tell you, I need time to be alone. No, force yourself to be with people who are supportive. Force yourself to participate in activities that will keep you busy. Do some practical things like doing exercises. If you can, go to the gym. And as you are working out, that helps helps you to produce, and it is the endomorphin hormone restores your level of happiness in life. So you have to do things that are practical. Again, number 5, focus outside. Focus outside yourself. Look at the things that you've done with your life. With that person.
Dr. Mujahid,
Are we
number
together?
4. Did we miss number 4?
Yes. Number 4. Okay, thank you. Focus outside yourself. That means don't just look at you. Maybe you have children. Look at those children. What will happen to them if you continue feeling sorry and getting depressed? Look at those old parents you have. If you are to continue feeling sorry and crying every other time, and feeling like you can't do anything else, what will happen to those old parents of yours? So focus also on the outside, not just on your inside. Don't be selfish. You should consider how important you are to other people. It's not only this husband who is in your life. It is not only this wife who is in your life. It is not only your fiancé who is in your life. It is not this childhood friend who is in your life only. There are so many other people in your life. So as this one who has disappointed you, making you feel sad, you should look at those who are still with you. Don't capitalize only on one loss when you have 10 other gains that you can celebrate. Number 5, try to learn something new, like a skill that you never learned when you were in that relationship, when you were in that situation, so that you can see the benefits now of being someone who is alone. Some people, when they are rejected, they enroll for an academic program. Some people, when they are rejected, they go learn a certain skill. Some people, when they are rejected, they go practice a certain skill, so that they can actually associate the break off and the breakout with the benefits of learning that particular skill. Again, my dear colleagues, try to meet new people. That means widen your network, your socialization circle. Remember, your network is your network. Another point, travel if you can. Get out of that environment where the rejection took place. Get out of that environment so that you can deal with a new stimulus and forget the stimulus that makes you respond with that feeling that is painful. Get out of that scenario. Get out of that town. Get out of that. Take a leave if it is a workplace. Take an academic break if it is at the university or at the college, so that you don't break down when you can walk away for a short time and then come back when you have refreshed, when you reflected, when you have meditated, and when you have made new choices of life. Again, you can consider counseling, talking to someone, not necessarily maybe a professional counselor. A professional counselor, highly recommended, but any other person who you think could give you good advice, could support you, could give you sweet words, could give you words of encouragement, could support you, in one way or the other. Again, one thing you should not do when you are rejected, don't ever blame yourself. Sometimes when people reject you, it's not because you are bad. No, it is because they are not up to your class. They are not up to your standard. They are scared that they are lower than who you are. Let me ask you a question. If today you walked to a beggar on the street and offered them 100,000 shillings and they refused, how will you consider that beggar? I am very sure you will say, this beggar is stupid. How could he reject 100,000? I want to tell you, there are many other people who are stupid out there who are rejecting you. Someone who is very valuable. It's not you who's not worthy being accepted. It is them who does not see the value you have. Therefore, you shouldn't feel bad. Again, remember, you should strengthen your resilience. How do you strengthen your resilience? Psychologically, when in your mind you're expecting things to happen, even when they happen, they don't hurt you. They don't. Because you expected it's going to happen. This person. And that's why one very good principle of living, learn this from me today. is to take everything in temporary, including your life. Everything in life is temporary. There is nothing permanent in life. Everyone, everything, every situation will come to an end one day. It's only the time that is not known. So if that relationship has come to an end, you should have expected it, because nothing is permanent. If that love has come to an end, you should have accepted it. Nothing is permanent. If that child has walked away from you, you should have expected it. If that friend has walked away from you, it should be expected. It's like that. It's life. Is one big principle. It's like whatever goes up comes down. It's the law of gravity. Whatever is born young will grow old one day. It's the principle of life. And things ending is also a principle of life. You shouldn't take it so hard on yourself. Again, remember, keep putting yourself on the other side also, so that you can be able to appreciate sometimes maybe there is a reason, a genuine reason for that breakout. It was meant to be for the best, and for the good. And therefore, you shouldn't feel very bad. Distance yourself from the situation. Establish a supportive network. Do something you love that you have never done for a long time. Practice self-care. Even, take more care. Do more personal grooming. Make yourself look good, so that you can be able to feel that esteem. There are 5 S's that are very important when it comes to rejection. And these S's are S number 1. Take care of your self-identity. You should know where you come from. Number 2, create a positive self-image for yourself. Entertain high self-esteem. Develop very strong self-confidence. And appreciate your self-actualization. In fact, if there is any rejection that is worse than any other rejection, it is self-rejection. When you're not happy with who you are, that is the worst rejection. Because now you will have to deal with your own self, your complexion, the shape of your nose, the texture of your hair, and such kind of thing, and you become really a sad person.
Dr. Mujahid, S number 4.
S number 4. I said S number 1. Can you come again? Can you remind me?
S number 1,
self-confidence, self-confidence, and self-actualization. Self-identity, self-image, self-identity, self-image, okay? Self-esteem, self-confidence, and self-actualization. Did you get them right?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's practice self-care so that you become strong inside. My dear colleagues, brothers and sisters, friends, if there is no enemy within, the enemy outside can never defeat you. Therefore, if you have a strong acceptance of yourself, no rejection will put you down. Again, remember, practice reflection and meditation every day. Thinking of where you came from, where you are, and where you are going. There is one thing, if you remember in life, it becomes a medicine of every disappointment, of any kind of rejection. And this thing is the thing called death. What could be worse than death? The moment you establish that acceptance in your mind, that there is nothing worse than dying, you can handle every other situation that comes in your life. Again, as I said, learn from the experience. Use this rejection as an experience for you to become a better person. Explore other opportunities that could be there. If it is a man, there are so many other men out there. If it is a woman, there are so many other women out there. If it is a job, there are many other jobs out there. If it is a friend, there are many other friends out there. Therefore, you should look at alternatives so that you can always say, okay, this has failed. Let me look for the one that can work out. Search for emotional boosters so that you can be able to get the support of other people that are more meaningful in your life. They are more supportive in your life, then they can make you feel better than anybody else. My dear colleagues, in the interest of time, I want you to think of the following things. Number one, always see rejection as a projection. See rejection as a projection, a moment where you can now think more creatively on how you can make yourself stronger in the future so that this rejection will not happen again. So see rejection as a projection. Number two, remember, rejection is not harassment, but an empowerment. Makes you stronger, makes you better. You develop emotional muscles. You develop shock absorbers inside your heart. And you can go through any rough road of love, any rough road of disappointment, any rough road of stress or depression. Number three, rejection should not be a curse, but a blessing. Is a moment where sometimes where what you want might not be good for you, but what God wants is now creating a moment for you. So you should take it very positively. Again, number four, rejection is necessary for a greater accomplishment. If things are to be smooth in your life, you will never grow to become a stronger person. It is these tests. That's what even God says in the scriptures. Do you think we will let you go easily like that without testing your faith? We will test your faith so that when we decide to reward you, we reward you knowing, yes, you are strong. So take that positively. Again, remember, rejection should not be viewed as distraction, but an ingredient of personalization. Now discovering, yes, life is not about other people. Life is about you. Take care of you before you take care of anybody else. Rejection should not be seen as a distortion. Rejection should be seen as a protection. Maybe God is protecting you from that person who would have been worse if the relationship should have continued. And therefore, here is a moment where it should come to an end. Remember, at the end of the day, pain is part of growing. Everything in life is temporary. Worrying and complaining does not change anything. Your scars are symbols of your strength. Every little struggle is a step forward to make life a better one and a more positive experience. Other people negativity is not your problem. What is meant to be will eventually be. The best thing you can do is to keep going, keep pushing, keep growing, and finally, all will become well, and may God help us. And thank you for listening.
Wow. That's Dr. Mujahid for you. He never disappoints.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
For the lovers of football, at Manchester City, they created a statue for their striker. I don't know what we can do at SambaSports. Maybe we can create something for Dr. Mujahid. He has always mesmerized people. He has always lifted our spirits. He has always given us so much knowledge. Thank you very much, Dr. Mujahid. That was so wonderful. What a way to come back to this platform than this one.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Coming back. Thank you very much. Let me open it for the next 10 minutes or so for people to, internalize, respond, give feedback. How was that, fellows?
MashaAllah. Congratulations, Mr. Mujahid.
Thank you very much, my sister Barke. Thank you very much. We are together.
First of all, nimefurahi kwanza na kulikuwa na maswali kama sikosei, nilikuwa na maswali manne na umenijibu kabla nikuulize.
MashaAllah. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I think kuna mahali lazima itasaidia mtu kwa sababu there is some youth in wetu who are traumatized in some way, one way or another, about family issues. Others is about drugs. Others is about love history. but if nilishindwa, how can I support them, how can I help them? But for now I think kufikia end of this week nitakuwa nimewafikisha mahali wanapostahili kuwa, kwa sababu wamekuwa traumatized na wamekata tamaa kabisa. Wamesema hawana tena maisha, hawana faida tena ya kuishi, kwa sababu wamekuwa rejected na familia na community. So na yani mtu anajihisi kusema, sasa mimi kama nimetengwa hivi, there is nothing I can do than to make suicide. Sasa mtu anafikia hatua ya kujiua, anasema sasa hiyo ni mahali tunasema ni stage ya mwisho, kwa sababu hakuna mahali kwingine atakapoenda zaidi ya kwenda motoni.
Kabisa. Lakini pia ni kuwafahamisha kwamba hata ndani ya uzao wa wazazi wetu, wa mama zetu, hatukuwa wengi, kila mtu alikuwa pekee, na mwisho wetu wa kuingia kaburini kila mtu atakuwa pekee. Why are you worried in between? You want to be with everybody.
Yeah, hiyo ni mpaka Mr. Mujahid mtu aelewe kwamba kuna kitu kama hiyo. So kwa yule asiyejua, ni haraka sana kuchukua hatua ya yeye kufanya kitu ambacho hastahili kukifanya, kwa sababu
na ndio maana watu wanasema maisha ni nasaha. Tusiwe mabakhili wa maneno mazuri. Ni lazima kila wakati tunapopata fursa na vijana na kina mama, tuzungumze na wao maneno mazuri, maneno ambayo yatawapatia matumaini ya maisha yao. Mara nyingi watu hawapendi kuzungumza, na hiyo inawafanya waeke yale machungu ndani ya mioyo yao, na baadaye inawaumiza. Kwa hivyo it's important to create platforms, particularly for young people, so that they can open up. Sometimes I do them. They're called magic circles. Magic circles is where everybody is free to say whatever they want to say, and then now the coordinator of the circle ends up with a summary that provides hope, provides assurance that it doesn't matter what happens today. What is really important, what are we doing today, so that tomorrow what is happening today is not going to happen again. And in that way, you empower people to learn how to let go. In the 15 Laws of Growth by John Maxwell, there is a law that is called trade-off. Trade-off means you should always give up that which is hurting you for that which is pleasing you. And in the long run, you become happier than you were before. So we need to teach young people to let go the disappointment, to let go the frustration, to let go the anger and such kind of thing. And this requires people like you and the others who are working with young people to always have forums that, provide them opportunity to open up, to be guided, to be counseled. And finally, believe me, it's not easy for somebody to take his own life. Life is sweet, but they need to be guided to understand the value of life, no matter how bad it is.
Thank you very much, Mujahid. I think it's always a pleasure.
Opportunity to Dr. Mukhtar. Please take the platform.
Thank you very much, Mujahid. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, my brother.
If I speak Swahili, you will laugh. Now, 3 observations.
Yes, please.
And I think I find this very useful. And I would have preferred the participants who are bigger and we are able to reach our non-English speaking community members. And I think this is something I recommend that should be scaled up nationally.
Okay.
Essentially, where we must begin, I think, to setting up such conversations help us enter, better results.
Yes.
I find not only this useful, I like the great lady who spoke in Kiswahili, which is very important to reach young people, but not only young people, my friend. People are suffering in silence.
Exactly.
Wakina mama, wazee, middle-aged like people like me and Mujahid.
Yes.
I think dialogues like this really help us for us to live peacefully and sustainably.
Beautiful.
And also lead our communities through turbulence into a successful future.
Great.
How we project this will be very important.
Yes.
We must also appreciate that communication isn't better enough. We must find ways to do things differently through effective dialogue, like what SambaSports is doing.
Exactly.
Thirdly, we must also re-examine the quality of our dialogue. Listening to Mujahid, it was like I was listening to a Friday khutbah. So there are some sheikhs I particularly very biased to because they fuse with their knowledge, contemporary knowledge, without of religion, and then provide a practical guidance for the community. So the
Exactly.
quality of our dialogue for us to survive and to thrive in
Yes.
the 21st century,
Exactly.
there are a lot of dialogue gaps that we have in our conversations. What Mujahid does, why people are so excited, because he speaks to their hearts. And I think this is what technical presentations is about and how we do it.
Beautiful.
But also to equally improve and reduce the negative effects of, some dialogues that do not really focus on the issues, so that we must assess, practice, and sustain improved dialogue so that we
Yeah.
have and develop a better vision. Finally, SambaSport. The work you are doing, I tell you, my friend, has significant impact across the country. So I think even on Facebook, I think I tell so many people to link to those videos on this recorded information. But more significantly, let us also have non-recorded private sessions for women only, so that even if it is not recorded, actually, I think for purpose of privacy, and then participation is only by invitation. And we have technical people. The only few men should be in that conversation are technical people like Mujahid. But I tell you the multiple challenges our mothers and sisters are going through, and the sheikhs are not answering. The other clerics and the other brothers of other faiths are not answering. It's very deep. Even with the huge rate of divorce in our communities, especially Muslim communities, especially poor Muslim communities.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
even the retooling of the gadis, the issues they go through, my friend. I think this should be the second phase of SambaSport. Now you have opened up a Pandora box, and I'm sure you're up to the task to fix these issues. Wabillahi tawfiq. Thank you. Mujahid nipige simu bana. Asante.
Thank you, Mukhtar. So, shukran, Muhammad. Shukran, Mukhtar.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mukhtar. If you have a combination of Dr. Mujahid and Mukhtar, really, you don't even need any other inspiration in the world. Thank you very much. As we are closing, because it's already 2 minutes to 9, we don't want to extend it further than 1 hour. Zena Abdullahi was asking the stages of rejection, denial, anger, lawlessness, feeling low, depression, and then till you accept yourself back. She's asking, is it linear, and is there a timeline for each stage? So maybe as I give it to Dr. Mujahid, yes, scientifically it is linear, and the duration from one stage to another depends on your elasticity level.
Exactly. And the
intensity of the situation, and also the preparedness of your resilience. How resilient are you? For people who are very resilient, it can be very short, within a week they are done with it. For people who are not resilient, it can take even 1 year or 2 years without reaching to the acceptance level. Dr. Mujahid, over to you.
No, you said it. You said it very well. That's exactly what happens. It depends on your level of resilience. It also depends on the socio-emotional support you will get around you. It also depends on your previous experiences. It is also depends on the fall forwards that you have created for yourself and the fall backs that are available for you. I think in the interest of time, I want to say this. Don't be afraid for rejection. Don't be afraid for rejection. Be afraid to be accepted for a wrong reason. Don't be afraid for rejection. Be afraid for accepted for wrong reason. Again, remember, the pain of rejection is nothing compared to the pain of regrets. So sometimes it's better to go through the pain of rejection than waiting to go through the pain of regret. Thank you, Muhammad, and thank you, everybody, for giving me this opportunity to share with you the little that God has blessed me with.
Thank you, Mujahid.
Mujahid has not answered. Mohammed has not answered the first question. He was asked about these polygamous relations. Wazee kwa bibi wengi alafu wanakuwa biased hizi. Tuongee hizo vitu bwana.
Sasa ni application.
Yes, Dr. Mujahid ameizungusha kabisa kwamba for any situation ambayo unajipata, you still can pick from that. Even in the situation of don't be afraid of rejection, but be afraid of being accepted for the wrong reason. I think that's the most powerful one that I'm picking. Ladies and gentlemen, it is sweet. Yes, it is very sweet, but the night is getting deeper and deeper. We don't want to be accused of keeping people mpaka masaa usiku wa manane. We want it to be short and sweet so that we can wait for the next one. Dr. Mujahid, always a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
On behalf of everyone on this platform, I take this opportunity to say thank you, thank you, thank you. And may God bless you. And may God keep you for longer so that we can benefit more and more and more. Thank you very much. And good night, everyone.
Check that.